Council Planning Committee on Tuesday, the 11th of February 2025. First thing, please, apologies for absence.
Apologies have been received from councillors Barreto, Evans, Harvey, Cambridge, Mitchell, no, Diggs here, sorry, Roslin, Terry, Wood and Wright.
Thank you. 5/18/24, minutes of the Planning Committee on the 14th of January 2025. Can we agree that there are true records? Can you sign, has everybody seen those? Agreed. Okay, agreed. Thank you very much. 5/19/24, any declarations of pecuniary interest? What can be any interest not registered? None at all.
Got a non-pecuniary friends with the application for Pooch's Yard.
Okay, well, no, when we come to it. Thank you. Any others? No. Thank you. 5/20/24, planning applications to be considered. Good evening, Mark. Over to you.
Hello, Chair. I just want to check you can hear me okay, because you're cutting in and out all the time. So are you receiving me clearly?
You're very clear.
Okay, well, apologies if I can't make sense of view of what you're saying at any point, but I'll try and go ahead. The other thing is I can't at the moment see the planning pack on my screen. Are you able to view it?
I'm just going to reshare it with you. Share it with meeting.
We just reshare it now.
Can you see it now, Mark?
Yes. Okay. Super. So, are we ready to proceed then, Chair, with the first application, 0090?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is 68 Mackenzie Road. So it's a householder application for a rear extension and a small front infill extension as well. There is also some internal alterations. If you are wondering what the round lines are, that's the sun apparently at different seasons of the year. So that's hopefully, as I said, putting it into context there, Mackenzie Road, corner of Redcastle Road. So if we can have a look at the first set of drawings, and apologies for the fact, just to confuse you, I've put the proposed on the left rather than the right as usual. So basically, it's the other way around to what you're probably expecting. So the ones on the right in this case are the existing status. Also, somewhat confusingly, the garage, when you look at that top right one, the garage, which is to sort of behind the house to the right, exactly there, seems to have disappeared from the proposal. No, it isn't actually disappearing. It's just that the proposed diagram there is in effect a section through the building, or it's not showing the garage, which would be in front of exactly where the cursor is there. So the extension there at that point is that bit on the right there, and you can see the sections through there showing again the proposed section with the larger extension on the back of the house. So that's on the right of the left hand side drawing there. Okay, if you're happy with that, we'll go on to the other ones, which are the right way around. So looking at the front of the house, as I say, you can see the garage on the right there. No significant change from the front view, really. If we look at the rear elevations, you can see that the extension is basically the structure largely on the right hand side. Yeah, exactly there. So you can see the garage is on the left, the existing structure on in between, and the extension, which would be sort of sticking out towards you at the rear of the house. So if we go down to the roof view, so again, you can see the existing extension on the, sorry, somebody trying to say anything, or no? Shall I continue?
No,
okay. Yeah, sorry. It's just some interference on noise, I guess. So on the right-hand side of the square, there's the existing structure or extension to the house, and as I say, bottom left, the garage again, and it's the bit in between with the roof light on it that is the proposed extension. So if we just go down, I think I think we might have a little bit more on that. Yeah. So generally speaking, materials to match existing. The floor plan there again, it's the sort of bottom middle that's the new bit, which is a family/dining room. So yeah, bottom middle exactly. So I think that may be it. So let's just check if there's anything further. No, that's it. That's it for the. I'm back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Any comments at all? We can't quite happy to go over. Yeah. Okay, approved. Thank you very much. 0916.
Thank you, Chair. So, yep. So this one is the doggy daycare centre. So it is a change of use in the sense that they want to be able to have dogs there overnight. So dog hotel, kennelling facilities. It's worth perhaps noting that this is going to committee at Breckland purely because they own the building, it seems, basically. So it is a committee decision, but that's been sent to committee because they own the building. So, yeah, we'll have a look at the map there, highlighted in blue. So the Mumford Road going up on the right there, Thetford Way coming off it, and it's that sort of end of that industrial estate bordering onto the water facility just below it. And you can see, yeah, we'll go to the photo. So it's the sticky up bit basically at the sort of far left of that building. That is the unit in question. So that's it seen from the main road. And I think there's one other picture of the other side of it as seen from Telford Way, or the end of that building anyway.
This has been improved at Breckland already.
Just to hold on that, Mark. Apparently this has already been approved at Breckland.
Oh, okay. So possibly not making a comment then. This is consider it for information, I guess.
Well, it's good information. I guess from a town perspective, it's great to see a growing business that's identified a gap in the market. But are there any other comments on that at all?
Planning last week. It was passed last week.
Passed last week, is it?
Breckland planning, yeah, it came up.
Okay, thank you. I think just out of courtesy, we'll say we'll pass it as well. Sorry, Mark. It's the number 1075. Thank you.
1075. Yeah, okay, check. Yep. So this is back to a householder one. So a single and rear and front extensions on here. Number 1, Nuns Gate. So this is basically a corner house. So can we go down just to the map now? So the plot in question is again the blue area there on the corner of Nunsgate and Nunsbridges Road. So if we could just go down to the next one, please. So this one highlights the area in question. Now the proposal is for the extensions are marked in red there. So I'd ask you to note, so you know which way round things are. If you haven't already, that the smaller front extensions there, that's the east elevation or east side, and then west side for the rear extension there. The other thing to note at this stage is the tree to be removed on this plan, the one that's marked in red there that they are proposing to remove for the convenience of that driveway is the one with the tree preservation order on. There is actually another tree to be removed, which is amongst the clump on the top left. And I haven't really been able to get a good picture view of that because it is in the corner of the garden. But we will see the tree that with the tree preservation on it that they are proposing to remove for the driveway a little bit lower. So if we can, as I said, note which way round it is. So you're looking there basically at that east side with the front door on it, and there's the line of the 3 pine trees with the one extra one nearest you in the front of it. So that's an overall view of the property, if you like, with the existing garages on the left there. So if we go down to the next one, please, Alan, thank you. So highlighted or circled there is the tree, has got a tree preservation order on it that they're proposing to remove because it is, and they're proposing to move the driveway to where that tree is now rather than where the grassy bit is on the right. And also to note that there is one of the branches of that tree that is touching the house, to which they refer to later on. Okay, if we could go down. So can we go to the east elevation first, actually? Alan? It's probably easier if we start there. So if we have a look at this, so this is the front door, as I said, looking at the front of it. So the proposal there is for that new front porch area on the right, replacing the existing structures. So can we now go up to west, which is the opposite view, if you like, the back. So this is where the larger extension is. Again, there's a roof structure and a bit right across the back there. Yeah, exactly where the cursor is now. So that's showing the rear extension there to the building. So yeah, let's go and have a look at north and south now. So these are the sides of the building. So you've got your front there on the left, and if we have a look at south, you'll see it from that's the other side. So yeah, basically you've got the front extension on the right there, the porch, and the rear extension on the left going right across the back of the house. Okay, can we have a look at the plan? So the plan is for at the top there you can see the existing layout with the garage is sort of top left there, and the existing extension, if you like, on the top right. And the proposal is to add in a bit all the way along the back, so that's sort of top left of the plans. And you can see that and exists and also add that entrance lobby at the bottom there of your picture. So those sections there, you can see XX and YY. If you look very carefully, YY is the rear extension there, which goes from sort of across the rear extension, and XX goes sort of across the top right section there. So that just gives you the sort of roof sections basically of those. Okay, if we go down to, so on the application form, it asks, will any trees or hedges need to be removed or pruned? And they put no for this, which is, I must admit, rather confusing. I'm not sure whether that means whether that's a mistake, an error, because it is basically a full statement as the planning application is currently submitted, because they do say they do want to remove a tree. So I'm not sure whether that's just a mistake or whether there is basically an effective admission that is not a vital part of the proposal. But it does say, as I say on there, that they don't want to remove a tree, but the details say they do. And similarly, also the pedestrian vehicle access section there, you can't see the answers, I'm afraid, there. But again, they're saying no alteration to that, but there does appear to be on the plans some alteration to that, in the sense that it's being moved to the area across where the tree currently is. So it is moving slightly. Highways have not got an objection to this. Now, on their own, the applicant's own tree report, the proposal of removing trees 2 and 7. So 2 is the one in the sort of top left of the garden as we saw it on the plans. Sorry, 7 is that one, and 2 is the pine tree that we circled in the red. That's the one with the tree preservation area on it. They do have they've listed their reasons there that at some point in the future this may cause problems for the building. And I mentioned, as I said, they also say there that the branch of the pine tree is touching the house, or one of them is, and you know, it might cause a problem for the driveway at some point. The tree officer, however, is not in agreement with that their report, and is just says flatly unable to support this because it is a tree preservation order protected tree. I think that's everything on this. So back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Noting that we've got this notice from the tree officer that he's unable to support. Any comments, please? Terry first.
Yeah, we've lost quite a number of pine trees in the actual town of Thetford over the last few years. I mean, that's in part why this one has a TPO on it. You know, I actually think that little line along there actually is nice. You know, it's part of the sort of historic nature of Thetford. So I think we should be supporting the tree officer's objections.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, I echo that. but I also don't see the need for a new access road going across a footpath, joining the road like 20, 30 metres from a road junction, instead of continuing the road round to using the current access, where these places have had it for God knows how many years. That footpath is regularly used, and if it then has a dropped footpath, then that means vehicles can just park on there and block the footpath legally, because it is a drop curb. So I'm completely against that.
Okay, good point. Thank you.
Just to echo the as well, we more often than not we get planning applications. We get the tree officer signs off it's fine. So I think the few times when they do come back to us and say I'm unable to support it, I think we have to take that quite seriously. I absolutely agree. It's the removal of the pine tree protected by a TPO. It comes across to me ever so slightly like, and this may just be the way that it's written, it's scratching our roof tiles a bit, so let's remove the entire tree. Trim the branches. You know, I just not really agree. I think it's an incredibly unnecessary thing to do. And if the tree officer objects, I don't think we really have any grounds to disagree with them. They're the professional at the end of the day.
Yeah, good point. Any others at all? Are we quite content with the building extension part of the plan application?
No problem with the
So
building.
the only thing we're really objecting to
Drive
is the tree.
and the drive. The drive is completely unnecessary.
Noting that the highways officer said that he thinks it's fine, but then they very rarely go against anything. So I think in this case, can we say no simply because of the tree and the drive in this case? With a note saying that we're quite content with the rest of the building.
I think it is, you know, by the look of it, we are talking of 20 or 30 metres from the normal access into that close. So why is there a need for it?
Yeah, I mean, actually, their drive already goes out onto that road. They're just bringing it in further where the tree is. So if you look at the drawing, it does go across, turn onto the bridge road.
Is that their drive?
Yeah. They drive in and then turn left at the end. I think it's in. If we can
Yeah,
go back.
that's, yeah, that shows it, yeah. So yeah, basically what they're
Is
proposing.
that their existing drive into there? Not round the corner?
Yeah, so it's already there. And there's a dropped curve.
In that case,
Take this off.
yeah, in that case, my comment is completely void and wrong. In that case.
Okay, so we've noted.
Terry?
We'll just stick with the 3 point. So no on tree. Sure. Okay, thank you, Mark. More trees.
Yep, so yeah, if you're happy to proceed with the tree works. Now again, all of these are not consultation requests, they are for information only. So I'll probably, I think, be able to rattle through all of these quite quickly. They're all also either from on Thetford Town Council land or Bretland Council land. Yeah, they are done generally as a result or following on from tree safety reports. So yeah, if we start with the first one, which is well, actually, which one are we first? Oh, yeah, St. Peter's first, isn't it? So, yeah, St. Peter's House, yeah, map is showing it there. Site's obviously very familiar to you. Unfortunately, the documents don't seem to be available for this on the Brecon website, but I think you'll all be very familiar with it. I believe that the lime tree it refers to there is the one at the border of the driveway of King's House, and the elder, as I say, it says in the guttering. So again, that locates that quite well. So if anyone's not familiar with it, Basil epicomix, it's that kind of bushy growth from around the bottom of a tree where a tree gets sort of damaged by strimming and such around the base. It sends out lots of tiny little shoots. So it's basically removing those lots of tiny little shoots from around the bottom and removing the elder from the guttering. I mean, do you want to? or ask for comments at all, Chair? As I say, you're not allowed to actually influence this as such, but if you want to discuss it, over to you.
Just for completeness, I think we'll give them each individually a thumbs up or down if we can. So on that first one, are we quite happy? I would, no objections. Thank you. Okay, Karen, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next one is Spring Walk. So yeah, you've got two here. So there's another lime tree removing the basal epicaumics. Oh, can we just go back just a second, Alan? Sorry. And the other one is an ash, which is to be felled, leaving a 4-metre stump because it's liable to fell. So if we just go down to the map now, please. If we can. So you've got the one right near the actual bridge there is the lime, and the one by what some of you will remember as the old swimming pool, that's it, yeah, is the ash. So if we just go down to the tree plan, they are, so that's the lime marked in orange there, just right by the nearest one to the bridge, basically. Yeah, if we go down a little bit more. So this is from the tree safety report. So the top one there is the small is the lime economic growth, and if we can go down just a little bit more, you'll see that the ash is as I said, the one by the old swimming pool, and that you can see it's got the dye back throughout its crown, and they are therefore recommending a 4-metre stump fell. Over to you, Chair.
Okay, any comments at all? No, everyone's quite happy. I would make one comment, and that is we've lost a lot of trees down that walk. And each time we lose one, I'd like us to see if we replace it, not necessarily like what we like, but something that's more suitable to the environment. And I'd like to make that comment because otherwise we just lose so many, particularly down Spring Walk. Is that okay? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Sorry, on to the next one, Mark. Thanks. Back to you, Mark.
Well, yeah, sorry. So yeah, if we just go actually back to that picture, because that does show the lime tree by the bridge, and that actually shows quite clearly the epicormic growth. If you see it, we're looking at the stuff around the bottom. So this isn't a fell in this case. The ash, however, is a fell, and so that's sort of off the road. So I'm afraid I wasn't able to get a street view picture of that one. But yeah, so if we go on to the next one, if we can. So this one is Ford Meadow, and you can see it's just a little blue square there. So we're talking about the south bank of the Thet in this case, rather than the Ouse, and it's sort of basically opposite the care home there. So yeah, we'll go down to the tree plan, the next diagram, if we may. So again, it's just showing the one in orange there, right, sort of nearby the river. It's quite difficult to get the context from that, I appreciate, but hopefully the previous map tells you roughly where we're talking about. So yeah, if we'll go down a little bit further. So yeah, in this case, again, it's just epicormic growth. Back to you, Chair.
Any comments? No, I support that. Thank you.
Okay, so another one here, and in this case we are talking about King's House. So there are two trees in question, both of them holm oaks, one just behind the building and one in the sort of front car park right adjacent to the shop. So if we could can we go down to the next? Is there anything further on this? I can't remember whether we got any. Yeah, so we've got the orange ones there. So 795 just above King's House, if you like, just behind the building, sort of overhangs onto the White Hart Street car park. And then the one at the 773, the one on the bottom right, is the one that's right up against the wall of the neighbouring shop. And actually on that picture, it does show the sort of lime next door in the St. Peter's churchyard. So so in this case, as I say, we've got 774, sorry, the one by the shop is removing the epicormic growth, and the one behind King's House is lift the low canopy, so it's taking off the lower branches to sort of increase the height of the crown, if you like. Yeah, I think that's all we've got on that. Back to you, Chair.
It seems like sensible maintenance of 2 oaks. Any comments? All happy to support? Oh, sorry.
Can I just check, Mark, from a planning point of view, tackling the epicormic growth, is that purely because these are TPO'd? If they weren't TPO'd, would they, be able to cut that back without going through a full process?
Yeah, it does. It does seem rather
bureaucratic.
overkill. I think it's because they're in the conservation area, basically, that sort of pretty much any work, in theory at least, should have a planning application. But yeah, for just removing these sort of little regrowth stems around the bottom, it does seem rather over the top for it to be a planning matter, I should say.
Expensive.
Okay, if we're all happy, we'll support that. I think there's one more.
Yeah, well, there's kind of a series of oh well, actually one more Thetford one, Thetford Council one, which is the marketplace car park. Basically, there's a couple of limes that they're suggesting to be repollarded to where it's been pollarded previously. So is everyone familiar with pollarding? So it's sort of cutting back the branches to a back to the stem, basically, to again it'll regrow from that point. Again, because I can't see the documents, I'm not sure exactly which two, but you know where it is, and it's to supposedly to improve the CCTV, so you can probably work out which two it is from that. Back to you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any comments? Right, we're happy to support. On to 035.
Yep, so you've got a series of ones now which are all Breckland Council land. So along the Norwich Road, 1075. So there's a whole series of works to be done within wooded areas. And if we, I'm not proposing to go into them in details because again, you can't actually make official consultation requires on this. But if we go down to the list just below, we should be able to see, oh, well, that's the area of land in question, and those are the trees in question within that sort of wooded area. So yeah, if we just go down to the report bit, please, Alan. So you can see basically that they list the reasons for sort of works in each case. The only comment I would make is there seems to be a number of cases where fell tree to the ground, and I'm just wondering why they're not reducing to 4 meters, which in one case they are, and on one of the previous ones near Nuns Bridge, as it was. So that one's being reduced to 4 meters, but a lot of them are fell to the ground, and yeah, I'm not sure why that is particularly. I mean, if the tree is dead, they obviously want to reduce it to a safe level. So I'm guessing that these may be next to sort of well-used footpaths, but really from that plan and the information, I can't be sure of that unless anybody else knows the site in sort of detail. Back to you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. The whole area runs along the side of the Norwich Road and is interwoven with footpaths. So that may have some implication. There are also beech trees which are different. I'm not sure if that has any bearing. But again, I would make the one comment from my point of view, which is lots of trees being taken down and being replaced. It's good to see that some maintenance is happening in there because it's been left overgrown and unkept for a long time. So are there any comments at all we'd like to add? Are we content just to note that there's no notification of new trees being planted? Happy with that? Thanks, Mark.
Okay, and quite a similar one coming up. So again, it's a sort of quite a sort of batch of works here. So if we go down to just the area map, well, as I say, you can actually see the area in blue and indeed red there, which marks the trees. So we're kind of further up the road, approaching Tesco's at this point. I mean, similar basically reasoning and actions in this case. On the subject of replanting, it may be that they are sort of working on the assumption that there should be natural regeneration within the woodland, perhaps. But yeah, if we just go down to the actual yeah, again, it does seem to be, as I said, it does seem to be a lot of fell to the ground in this section, rather than perhaps retain some of the standing red dead wood. But back to you, Chair.
Okay, pretty much the same. Any comments at all?
Agree, this is like.
Happy? Okay, thank you. On to the next one, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, and again, as I said, it's going to be very, very similar. Another section of the woodlands along Norwich Road. That's the area in question in this case, and yeah, we can go down to the pictures and the perhaps yeah, that's probably the relevant place to have a look at. So again, in this, there are a couple of, well, there's at least one there that's reduced to 4 meters, so there is some retention of the dead wood for insects and so forth in there. But you can see again a lot of them with large amounts of dead wood in the upper crown. So and beech, as you quite rightly pointed out, is a particular danger of sort of unexpected falls. So yeah, I'm nothing further on that from me. Back to you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you. Really beach, but I can't pronounce the correct Maria the Dulce, whatever that is. That's actually another kind of tree, which is slightly different. So are we all content with those? Thank you. And I believe that's the last one.
Yeah, I think that's everything. I think you're on to the next section, so I will leave you to it unless there's any other questions. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much for joining us once again.
Thank you.
Sorry.
When the tree ones come through like that, is it possible that we could, unless anyone wants to make comments, if they're reports like that, could we not just email across or send messages across and say, look, if they're recommended by a specialist and we got it for information, we don't really need to discuss it, do we?
No, I tend to agree with you. However, I think if we didn't do that, we'd open ourselves up to not doing it for everything. So if we made an exception for that, then where would we draw the line? I guess would be the question. And I know it's a bit tedious, particularly with that one, because they're just different sections of the same.
These are recommendations that are from a tree surgeon. It's not, Fred Smith knocking a tree down in their garden. And what are we to disagree with a tree surgeon? This is my view on that.
Any other thoughts on that?
No, right.
No, I tend to agree with David. It feels a lot of going through in each individual process when maybe we would treat them as a whole.
Yeah. They could have all been lumped in one.
Yeah, I think they could have been.
It's the same tree surgeon done
along that section of road. I know he's done it in different parts. I mean, what's the difference between that one and the one we looked at on Nunsbridge Road? Because again, we agreed with the findings of the tree officer.
As Terry J pointed out, we are talking of, it wasn't a TPO on it. We're talking of trimming a few little growths from the side, and we're discussing 8 or 10 trees. And at the recommendation of a tree surgeon, it just seems absurd.
Okay, well, I'm quite happy to put that forward that if we're content with tree orders, unless somebody says, I think that's, I'd like to discuss it at the meeting. Does that make sense? So if we go in on the recommendations on tree orders, particularly with this kind of mundane stuff, then we should really just pass those. If anybody, before the meeting said, I'd like to discuss this particular one, or even at the beginning of the meeting, then we can do that.
That view is very good.
Will they still appear on the agenda for that meeting though?
I believe. Yeah, I believe it.
What we would do is we would just quickly say the following tree orders have been excellent. Those are all the plans, because we don't listen to the agenda, we can't discuss it. So we just list them and then Must be the chair would ask, are there any comments on any of the specifics?
And then we just quick fire. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, or to say there's no comments from anyone, let's move on to the next.
Excellent.
I'm like, thank you, Matt. Yeah.
Points, thank you. Okay, there are no decisions of variance.
We're done. All our disputes have been approved and all our agreements have been executed as well.
Sounds like it.
523/24 items to be referred to the Great Thetford Partnership. See none. 524 progress of actions from previous meetings. Anything we haven't done.
But I think everything's in process. There's been discussions with Becklands, with Pigeon about another walk around King Street that I think will happen towards the end of this month, beginning of next month. Boundary review, which is not common for the council, we have updated it. And then there's just the correspondence regarding the proliferation of gaming establishments, etc.
Okay, good enough. And 525/24 committees, is that that?
It's just one update. There are some fire risk assessments, planning, plans, list of building consents being submitted. We're still going to council, but what we're trying to do is just facilitate the timing. So those planning plans will go through. You'll see them in the planning documentation possibly, but we're still waiting for full council decision. So there's no cost involved in doing that. We're just trying to make sure that once everything is, if council approved the fire risk assessment work to be done, which hopefully we'll do at the end of this month, we start the actual process of facilitating that work. So please don't be alarmed. We're not binding council to any work that hasn't been approved by council.
Okay, there being no other points. The meeting is closed at very early for a change. I think it would have been even earlier if we discussed the trees. Point taken.
And if we start till 6 o'clock instead of 7.
Which is great, but I'm not looking forward to starting all our meetings at 6, because this is what I can get to after working. So, you know, I can see some, but I don't see others.